Welcome back to Gear Check Games. This is Trey, and as always, I'm joined by Joe and Dan.
Hello.
And for the first time ever, we have a guest.
Hello.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Trent. I almost speedrun this game.
Almost.
He's our self-appointed expert on Metroid Zero Mission.
I want to say expert.
We're very happy to have him along for this adventure.
Oh, good to be here.
This is, if nobody knows, this is the 2004 remake, made 18 years after the original. This is Metroid Zero Mission. It's a remake of Metroid 1, made in 1986.
You can shoot diagonally this time.
Whoa!
I'm so proud of you, Trey. You really did your homework for this. This first commentary that you're helming. I like it.
Little did you know, I also am a large Metroid fan.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you're not, that's your right, I guess. But
oh yeah,
I would raise an eyebrow. This series is awesome.
Good old Chode Zodia, the forbidden one.
Oh boy, getting spicy here.
Yeah.
We're going in hot. I decided to do this on hard mode for better or worse. Emphasis on worse.
Probably worse, yeah.
Well, you do only get half of your resources from upgrades, which is the biggest hurdle of hard mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me do the rundown. Not only do you have like half or sometimes even third the amount of upgrade and ammo capacity, and also enemies just straight up do more damage.
Yeah, as is to be expected.
So that will lead to a lot of comedy, so strap yourselves in, folks.
This is Metroid Fusion mode.
Pretty much.
Particularly those spiders that you've already faced. On normal mode and easy, those only show up after you've beaten the charge worm boss.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, side note, I refuse to pick up pickups when I first see them. I think it's funny, so get ready.
Oh no. I have a feeling this is going to be very frustrating to watch for me personally.
I think it's funny. I totally didn't just not see it when I walked by it.
Now, Dan, let's not make assumptions.
So as you can see, I took 2 hits and I'm almost dead.
Oh my god.
Did I mention I refused to pick up pickups, by the way?
Did you say this was your first time
As a
attempting
joke.
hard mode, Trey?
Yeah, this is my first time doing hard
Oh
mode.
my god,
man.
you are a brave soul.
oh,
Well,
For
I've
sure.
played this game like a dozen times naturally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but it's a massive change of pace with the caveats that you get.
Oof.
Well,
You
Wait.
know,
Samus is a girl?
one.
Metroid is a woman.
Yeah, let's use his proper name. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Oh my god, please.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, if
So yeah,
there's one
these-
thing that's always constant in this world, it's that Metroid can't crawl.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's why we need the morph ball.
So I think these are called shriek bats, and these are annoying.
Uh-huh. In pretty much any game you find these guys in. Personally, I'm doing a playthrough of Metroid Prime 3 right now, just for my own funsies. And I'm having the damnedest time being able to scan shriek bats for the logbook, because they always ram into you and blow up before you have a chance to scan them fully. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Well, on that note, I'm playing through Metroid Prime 2 right now, and I'm having the same problem, so I feel you.
And speaking of that same problem, in Prime 1, particularly the unpatched 1.0 version,
Oh
there
god.
there's ice shriek bats, which
Ooh.
only
Yeah.
exist once, and then never again.
Only once.
Well, thankfully, the first time I attempted to 100% the logbook in Prime 1, I was aware of that, and I got the Ice Shriek bat scanned.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I forgot to scan Flogra's tentacles, which are considered a separate creature entry from the boss itself, so that's nice.
Such a jerk move.
I think the
Yeah.
only time I've tried to 100% a logbook in a Metroid Prime game was 3, where your logbook stays after New Game Plus or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So I played through 2 or 3 times trying to get the whole logbook, and I think there was one I refused to look up the ones that I missed. So I think there ended up being one that I just could not for the life of me figure out what it was. I just had a lot of free time on my hands as a kid.
Yeah. Well, thankfully,
Those are the days.
there's nothing so time wasting as a logbook in this game. These, and I'd say the 2D
Yeah.
Metroid series as a whole is more action focused than the Prime series, and that tends to be kind of a what am I? Yeah, kind of a splitting point for Metroid fans. Like, do you favor like the atmosphere and like storytelling, or are you more in it for the like the mechanical action of these games?
And that's certainly also not to say that the 2D Metroids don't have tons of atmosphere. You can just look at games like Super Metroid.
Like. Mm-hmm.
Or Metroid Fusion.
Yeah, there is a spectrum. Like, not all 2D Metroids are like quite exactly the same. Just like all the Prime games aren't quite exactly the same. It's just in general there seems to be kind of that split in focus. Nice job with that jump, by the way. I always forget that I have to grab a ledge there and have to fall back down and do it again.
Yeah, to refocus, sorry to interrupt, but I just got Long Beam, and that, like, I'm so glad to give that to you early, because it's such BS with that tiny pea shooter that only goes like a third of the length of Samus.
Oh,
also,
yeah.
Yeah, it goes the third of the length of a screen. And also, on that note, there was actually multiple opportunities to sequence break here already that we've passed.
Dancing with Kraid.
Particularly on the room that he jumped up, you can actually go back through that tunnel if you do some tricky shoot right before you morph.
Oh, yeah, this
And-
is like the... Finish your thought.
Oh, I was going to mention, and additionally, I'll point it out later, but he walked past a shortcut, a dev-intended shortcut, where you can just completely skip the long beam.
Oh, yeah, there's like a passage that you need the long beam to bypass. Uh-oh.
That's 2 deaths.
Uh-oh, you didn't save after the long beam.
No! So I had to crawl all the way back up that corridor.
Oh, you poor
Like,
soul.
that's a huge cut right there.
So did you record this entire playthrough like all at
There
once?
it was.
I recorded it over the course of a day, because there are unfortunately quite a few deaths.
Before we get too far away from it, I do want to congratulate you for that wall jump, Trey. That was actually pretty nifty.
Oh, thanks.
Jumping from the crumble platform back up to your safe ledge.
Yeah, well, on hard mode, wall jumps are way more important, and they're the wall jumps you get from Super, not from Fusion, so you can feasibly climb a wall without having to platform.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thankfully they fixed that for Zero Mission as opposed to Fusion.
Yeah, that was one of the big complaints of Fusion, was just like, why are you this restrictive?
Well, but that was kind of by design, though. Like, that's Fusion is the sort of game where, like, I feel like something like that is a little more excusable because it feels clearly like it was the developer's intent for it to be like more restrictive and frustrating. Because it's not just like that one element of the game. Like, the story also like really reinforces that theme, and especially like the way that the story is told in that game with like all the dialogue from between like Samus and the AI computer. But there's none of that in this one. This one's story and cinematics are all kind of these really nice, like, we saw a little bit of it at the beginning, but these really nice kind of comic booky looking cutscenes.
Yeah, they look really sharp too, even on the GBA, because that's where I originally played this.
Mhm.
It still looked good on that little screen.
Yeah, this
Right.
game has a nice visual style, very, very vibrant.
Additionally, like, a large portion of just the memory was used on those images, so you know they certainly knew their limitations and what they were working for, and used it appropriately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oh god,
as
I'm
they
almost
say,
dead.
limitation breeds something. Ingenuity, sure.
Yeah.
Nice
So
save.
it's kind of
Thank you.
like I touched on it a little bit, I think at the end of an earlier episode of a different series, maybe Wind Waker, but it's kind of, Fusion is kind of like the same kind of thing as like the Metal Gear games, where some of the games will do things that maybe don't have, they might cause people some dismay from a purely like gameplay standpoint, but it lends something to the story and the theme of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, MGS2 being, well, a lot of things about MGS2, and the fucking the stuff about that.
Possibly even more apt of a analogy is how Resident Evil 4 was extremely restrictive on the controls. Whereas,
let's go with that.
Zero Mission is also not Zero Mission. Fusion is also quote unquote horror almost, so it makes sense for you to be a little bit more clunky, a little bit more obtuse. It gives you kind of a strange feeling, especially in comparison to the SAX, which is as powerful as you are at the end of Zero Mission.
Yeah, speaking of powerful and intimidating enemies,
right?
I hear
Jeez,
from
this music.
I hear from seemingly everyone I've talked to that this boss is like super easy, but I can never seem to fight it properly.
Yeah, well, you can fight him 2 times.
So the proper strategy for it is to morph ball under his eye.
Oh yeah.
And then come up and then launch a missile. That gives you a little bit of extra time to get the missile off properly. And dodge his eye.
Oh
that
no!
was the strategy for that enemy, Trent.
Jeez. Well, we know what doesn't work.
Not get
That took me down from 31 energy.
Yeah, I was gonna say your
Hard mode.
What's it called? The siren wasn't even going off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, he just looked at me and said, "Listen, do you like hedgehogs? Well, you're gonna die for one."
Samus needs a zoomer siren.
Oh yeah, so this time I figure out how to actually fight the boss. On normal mode, like, this guy, like, his little spikes do, like, 3 damage to you. So they're like a joke. Like, this boss is supposed to be like alright, do you understand how to actually move about?
So, you almost make it look like on the first try you were just intentionally throwing. With how clean you did that.
On accident!
He was trying to make me feel better about my own lackluster abilities.
See, I haven't played this game in a long time, and when he just ran away from you the first attempt, I was just like, alright, so this is just kind of like a spectacle boss that you're not supposed to actually beat. I didn't know that you were actually supposed to beat him, and he could just run away if you take too long.
Mm-hmm.
That's neat.
And he will come back later, so you don't lose the charge beam, and he doesn't run
I mean,
away
I
the second
figured,
time.
yeah.
Well, if you don't take him
too
down,
long in this game is just uncompletable. Even though I don't think you need the charge beam to win.
You do not.
Old school, baby.
Speaking of, you in fact do not need a lot of power-ups to win. You don't need long beam. You barely need ice beam. You certainly don't need half of the suits that it gives you, because you do not need to pick up Varia.
Yeah.
Some of us do.
I do.
And speaking of, actually, one of the hardest achievements to unlock in this game, and in this game, achievements are art gallery pictures, ending slides. One of the hardest to unlock is 15% items on hard.
Oh god.
Notably, this counts missile tanks, energy tanks, power bombs, but more importantly, major pickups, power grip, high jump, speed booster, all count as a percentage. So you only have like 2 or 3 actual choices in upgrades that you choose.
So you got to really make it count.
And it is hard. It is very hard.
What's the image that it unlocks?
I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's one of her pictures of her in a 2-piece.
No living human has lived to see it.
Right.
That is one thing, is while Samus is probably one of the strongest female protagonists, especially from the era of the 90s, she pretty good, pretty attractive, and they make use of that.
And these games are not they are not shy about hiding that. I don't want to jump the gun too much, but I don't know, I've never really felt, I don't know. I don't really like the idea.
Either, Joe.
Oh yeah,
glad we're on the same page.
We're gonna learn to feel together.
Numb.
The idea of using that as like an incentive for players, just I don't know. It never really sat right with me. It kind of undermines like Samus as this awesome heroine, I feel, and I kind of prefer what the Prime games do, where Prime games don't have rewards for completion times, but they have rewards for like completion percentages. And if you fulfill them in those games, instead of like fan service, you get like extra story, often which often like sequel baits the next game.
Sorry to interrupt, but I tried for quite a while to get up that ledge, and it's not possible.
Well, it's hard for me at least to wall jump in this game because of how it seems like gravity is like cranked up so high in this game. Like you just kind of zip up and then zip back down. Whereas like with Super, you hold that jump button, you're in the air for like 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's slightly alleviated by getting high jump later.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly also another quirk with wall jumping is Samus's lowermost corner towards the wall needs to be touching the wall. So if like the center of your sprite is touching a block, you can't wall jump from it. But like where her quote unquote feet would be, do.
Yeah. Also, here's the bomb, and they give you a simple test to get a missile tank by displaying the mechanics of the bomb.
Yeah, I love the bombs in this game. There's a very clear like rhythm to the explosions, and like when you have to place them in order to like bomb jump.
Yeah,
it's really clear if you pay attention in this game that they meant for you to replay it again and again and figure out all the speedrunning tricks.
Yep, infinite bomb jumping was both developer intended and well known.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, moving very briefly back to the whole the reward for completion stuff. And and Samus took her clothes off. I never really had a problem with it because I personally feel like it fits Samus's character well enough. Like I personally have always kind of viewed.
She's definitely a confident woman.
Yeah, I've always viewed like showing off your body. I've always associated with confidence, which Samus is very much confident. If it was like just blatant cheesecake of like, oh, Samus clumsily fell over and here's an upskirt shot of her,
like in Other M.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially since this is, a Japanese-made game where, that really pervades their animation medium.
Yeah.
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 And I also kind of saw it as like, Samus in a bathing suit. It's like, Samus. It's kind of showing you that like Samus is taking a break after the adventure, just relaxing. So I'm like,
right.
Good for her.
Also, is a pretty good statement to humanizing her. I will actually come back to the statement. I do want to mention. So, we mentioned earlier, Fusion was really pretty hands-on, pressuring, restrictive. Zero Mission is actually a pretty good balance between Super, which was super laissez-faire and didn't really give you a lot of instruction, and Fusion, which was pretty heavy-handed. They give you a general location through these Chozo statues that you just saw Trey use.
Yeah.
But they don't show you how to get there. They don't explain what you need to do when you get there. It doesn't tell you what you're going towards. It's just a dot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just tells you general directions. Here, go here.
Yeah, it's pretty efficient. I always hear it said that this is like, if you're just getting into the Metroid series, like this is the one to start with.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because of how it handles progression. I think I prefer the Super way of doing things. Simply because like a lot of what I enjoy about these games is becoming familiar with this giant maze-like world that you explore, and remembering when I run into roadblocks and thinking like, oh, I just got this item that can like get me through like red doors. I should go back and open that red door with the new item I just got, and wouldn't you know it, that's where the next part of the game is.
And actually, also speaking onto a similar thing, a lot of puzzles like this one can be accomplished with a more minimal set of items. So what Trey's trying to do here is to, bomb and then get back on top of, go into morph ball, fall off, and get back in, which is doable.
And failing.
It ain't easy.
Can you not ledge grab to get in?
Not yet.
He doesn't have ledge grab yet.
Oh, I thought you pointed out earlier that he ledge grabbed something. I must be mistaken. I forgot that you need to unlock it. I'm thinking of Fusion.
What Joe meant was actually that whenever you are on a screen transition, you need to move left immediately to be able to land on a ledge, or you'll just fall back down.
I see.
Also, in that segment, I meant to say this earlier, I found a secret room with a missile tank that had an extra one of those nests in it. If you don't kill that nest early, bats continually spawn in that room and make it even harder. Oh yeah, I get lost here by the way.
That secret room
they continually
was just
spawn in that room
to the left.
Yeah.
So.
I love it when games have something that you can interact with earlier in the game, and depending on what you do with it earlier, impacts something later in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
I would bring up an example from Metal Gear Solid, but I feel like we've already kind of explored that topic in this.
The helicopter.
Oh yeah.
Hindy.
Oh wow! Did you see how much damage that did? I didn't even realize that. I was at
oh my god,
almost at 50, and that little bug took me down to 100.
Oh my god, this is giving me horrible flashbacks to the NES Metroid.
Oh yeah,
Just having to
just standing in front of a pipe for like minutes.
It was
at a time.
worse. It was worse in Metroid 2. In
Yeah,
Metroid 2,
yeah.
you either had to make the choice of like going really far back for a recharge station, or sitting really boringly in front of something. And they made the enemies a lot sparser in the later areas, so grinding back at the full in later areas was just annoying.
Just a big old brain.
See, for a second I thought that little wire on the right side was her eyeball.
Oh, I love Captain N.
Ooh.
Captain Nope.
Always watching.
God.
It is also a really, interesting way to storytelling, the way that they did this with, for up until you do fight a boss, Samus has no interaction with these antagonist parties, yet they are there watching.
Yeah, the foreshadowing's nice. Kind of helps the boss fights to feel more impactful.
Heh.
That's the end of Upper Brinstar.
Sam's just waiting for us to wrap up.
Yeah, that's it's narrative, Dan. Thanks for joining our first episode of Zero Mission. Next episode we'll explore Upper Norfair.
Can't wait.
See you then.
Bye, y'all.